the sea witch cuts out the mermaid's tongue with a blade. Every step she takes feels like she's walking on broken glass for the rest of her life. And at the end of the story, she doesn't get the prince. She doesn't get her happy ending. She throws herself into the ocean and commits suicide. That's the real Little Mermaid. And Disney made sure you'd never know. But Hans Christian Andersen's 1837 original tells a different story. The transformation isn't magical, it's agony. Her bones crack and reshape. Every single step feels like swords piercing through her feet. She cannot scream because her tongue has been cut out. The prince marries another woman. She has to stand there, voiceless and bleeding, watching him promise eternal love to someone else. Then at dawn, her heart literally breaks, and she dissolves into sea foam. That's how the story ends, with death, with erasure, with nothingness. And here's what will change everything you thought you knew. Andersen wasn't writing about a mermaid. He was writing about himself, about what it felt like to be a gay man in 1830s Copenhagen, where loving another man meant mutilating your true self just to survive. Today, we're uncovering what Disney buried. Before we plunge into the darkness, let's establish what Disney wants you to remember. Their 1989 film introduced Ariel, a rebellious 16-year-old mermaid princess who dreams of the human world. She saves Prince Eric from drowning, falls in love, and makes a deal with Ursula the Sea Witch. 3 days to make the prince fall in love, or her soul belongs to the witch forever. The trade, her voice for human legs. It's about following your dreams, about finding your voice even when it's been taken. Ariel gets her legs permanently, defeats Ursula, marries Eric, and the whole ocean celebrates. Romantic, triumphant, everything a fairy tale should be. And it's a complete fabrication. Disney didn't just change the ending, they performed surgery on the entire story, removing every organ of darkness until the original was unrecognizable. To understand what they cut away, we need to understand something crucial about mermaids themselves. Because the creature Disney showed you isn't what mermaids were, not even close. For centuries across Europe, seeing a mermaid meant one thing: you were going to die. These weren't whimsical creatures, they were harbingers of doom, death's messengers rising from the waves to announce your fate was sealed. The European ballad The Mermaid, dating to the mid-1700s, captures this perfectly. When sailors spotted a woman's face above the waves, they didn't reach for nets. They abandoned hope. They knew their ship was doomed. In 1782, off the coast of the Hebrides, a Scottish brig's log recorded the crew's terror. The captain wrote in shaking script that the creature's eyes were neither kind nor cruel, but empty as the void between stars. Within a week, the ship struck rocks during a squall. Every man aboard was lost. The logbook washed ashore 3 months later, that final entry like a prophecy fulfilled. Ship captains documented these sightings in official manifests. The HMS Gloucester's records from 1682 contain 17 separate mermaid sightings in the North Sea, each followed within days by vessel losses. 17 warnings, 17 disasters. To medieval Europeans, a mermaid wasn't a dream. She was death's signature in the ledger. But something more disturbing emerged. Stories of mermaids who didn't just herald death, but desperately, destructively pursued the living. Creatures who would sacrifice everything, even their immortal souls, for love, for belonging, for escape from their own nature. Andersen drew from 2 specific tales that would shape his protagonist's grotesque transformation. The first was Frédéric de la Motte Fouquet's 1811 novella, Undine. about a water spirit who lacks a soul and can only gain one through marriage to a mortal man. She marries the knight Huldbrand, gains her soul, believes she's finally become real, but he betrays her. He takes another woman because Undane's otherness frightens him. Even with a soul, she's still too strange, too different. Undane returns one final time, emerging from a well in the castle courtyard. She appears at his bedside the night before his wedding. She presses a kiss to his lips, not passionate, not vengeful, just sad, infinitely sad. And he dies, drowning on dry land, suffocating in open air. Medical science would later call this Ondine's curse, a condition where the body forgets to breathe during sleep. The second influence was Melusine, cursed to transform into a serpent from the waist down every Saturday. Count Raymond married her, promising never to look during these transformations. Years later, he drove his sword through her chamber door to spy. There, she writhed in a copper bath, her lower body massive coils, scales glistening, wings unfurled. Her scream shattered every window in the castle. She burst through the stone wall and vanished, neither dead nor alive, condemned to circle the fortress forever, wailing whenever one of her descendants was about to die. Andersen took these elements, the desperate quest for a soul, the hidden physical horror, the inevitable betrayal, and created something even more devastating. Let's talk about the price, the real price. In Disney's version, Ursula places Ariel's voice in a nautilus shell. It's magic, it's reversible, it's a plot device. In Andersen's original, the sea witch isn't theatrical. She's ancient. She dwells where no light has ever reached, in a forest of skeletal sea snakes, their bones white as chalk, swaying like hanged men. The path, too, her lair is paved with quicksand that has swallowed countless desperate souls. Their hands still reach up through the muck, grasping even after death. Her garden is decorated with remains. Drowned sailors' skulls planted like flowers, finger bones strung as wind chimes playing funeral dirges. The witch herself has lived so long her skin is transparent. You can see her black blood pulsing underneath, sluggish and thick like oil. When she brews the potion, she doesn't wave her hands. She slices open her own breast with a shark's tooth blade, lets her blood drip into a cauldron made from a giant's skull, adds sea serpent venom collected drop by drop, ground pearls from drowned brides' eyes, each one a wish that died unspoken, and the mermaid's own scales, torn from her tail right there, leaving raw wounds that will never heal. The mixture doesn't just boil, it screams, literally screams with the voices of everyone who ever died for love. The potion looks like liquid starlight when finished, beautiful, inviting, hiding its nature behind luminescence. And the cost? Not just her voice. Andersen is explicit. The witch cuts out her tongue with a blade, takes this organ that held supernatural power, the ability to lure sailors to death, to command waves, to enchant anyone who heard it, and removes it from her mouth. Blood fills the water. The mermaid cannot scream. Even if she could, who would hear her this deep? But that's not the cruelest part. The witch explains what the legs will cost. Every step will feel like walking on knives. Every step, forever. This isn't metaphor. Andersen describes it as if a sword were passing through her body with each movement. The transformation happens in agony. Bones crack and reshape, organs rearrange, fish becoming mammal in seconds. Gills seal shut while lungs inflate for the first time. She drowns and breathes simultaneously. Each scale tears away, leaving wounds that weep continuously. And here's what Disney never showed you. When she dances for the prince, and he loves watching her dance, each leap and turn, is like jumping onto broken glass. Her leg muscles cramp and spasm. She must consciously think about every step, fighting her body's desperate desire to collapse. But she can't return. Even touching salt water makes her legs burn, as if acid were being poured on them. This isn't temporary. This is forever. Every sunrise brings fresh agony. Every night she dreams of swimming, only to wake to legs that feel like foreign appendages, constantly sending signals of wrongness. She gave up her voice. She cannot scream, cannot beg for help, cannot tell anyone what she's enduring. She is beautiful and graceful and dying inside with every breath. And no one knows. No one can know. But here's something even darker. Something Andersen included that Disney completely erased. In Andersen's version, mermaids don't have souls. They live for 300 years, then dissolve into sea foam and cease to exist forever. No afterlife, no consciousness, just complete obliteration. The Little Mermaid has watched her grandmother, her aunts, countless friends simply cease to be. One day they're there, the next they're foam on the waves, their entire existence erased as if they never were. The Little Mermaid doesn't want the prince just because she loves him. She needs him. Marriage to a human is the only way a mermaid can gain a soul and escape eternal oblivion. Every painful step isn't just physical agony, it's existential terror. Because if she fails, she doesn't just lose the prince, she loses everything, forever. But here's where everything changes, where the fairy tale becomes something else entirely. Hans Christian Andersen began writing The Little Mermaid in 1836, during the most emotionally devastating period of his life. Copenhagen in the 1830s. A city of cobblestone streets, gas lamps casting shadows on rain-slicked walls, literary salons buzzing with poets and philosophers. But beneath this fervor lay a silence so oppressive it could suffocate. Men who loved men existed in shadows, their desires unspoken, hearts locked behind walls of terror. The penalty for sodomy in Denmark was hard labor in conditions designed to break you. But worse than legal punishment was social death, complete ostracization. Your family would disown you, friends would vanish, your career would end. You would become invisible while still living. Andersen walked these streets at night, wondering if anywhere in the world existed a place where he could speak his heart without fear. He was desperately, hopelessly in love with Edvard Collin, the son of his patron. Edvard saw Andersen as nothing more than a friend, and worse, he was about to be married to Henrietta Tyberg. Andersen would have to attend the wedding, smile, congratulate them, pretend his heart wasn't shattering. In his private letters, Andersen confessed something extraordinary to Collin. "My sentiments for you are those of a woman." He wrote this, knowing Collin might show others, might end their friendship entirely. Later, he wrote, "I languish for you as for a pretty Calabrian wench." Suddenly, the mermaid's transformation takes on completely different meaning. This is Andersen himself, forced to mutilate his true nature, to exist in a world that would never accept who he really was. The mermaid walking on knives. That's what it felt like for Andersen to navigate Copenhagen society. Attending Edvard's wedding, pretending joy while his heart shattered. The witch taking her voice, that's society demanding silence. The mermaid cannot speak about her suffering, cannot explain her sacrifice, just as Andersen could not speak about his love, could not write openly about unrequited desire, could not publish truth without destroying himself. The voice wasn't just communication. By giving it up, she surrendered everything that made her powerful. She became beautiful and acceptable and powerless. This would have been crystal clear to readers who understood the code. Be beautiful, Be graceful, but never speak your truth. And then comes the ending. Disney erased completely. In Andersen's original, the prince doesn't fall in love with the mermaid. He thinks she's charming, graceful, beautiful, but he sees her as a child, a pet. His heart belongs to the princess from the neighboring kingdom. The mermaid has to stand there, voiceless, as he tells her how much he loves this other woman. She has to be happy for him, has to smile and dance at his wedding, while every step drives swords through her feet. Her sisters rise from the waves with a solution. They've sold their beautiful hair to the sea witch for a dagger. The mermaid must kill the prince before sunrise. When his blood splatters on her feet, her tail will return, and she'll live. She stands over the sleeping prince, knife trembling. The blade is so sharp, it could slice through his throat without resistance. One thrust and she lives. One act of violence, and she returns to the sea, to 300 years of existence. She raises the knife. She looks at his face. The knife trembles violently. She hurls it into the waves. The water turns red where it falls, as if the sea itself were wounded. She throws herself overboard, choosing annihilation over betrayal. She would rather cease to exist entirely than destroy the one she loves, even though that love condemned her to this fate. Death doesn't come immediately. Instead, she becomes a daughter of the air, sentenced to 300 years of servitude. Only through 3 centuries of good deeds can she earn the soul the prince's love should have granted her. They drift through deserts bringing cool winds to dying travelers, glide over frozen seas, whispering warmth to lost explorers, slip through hospital windows to cool, fevered brows. Yet each carries silent sorrow spanning centuries. They watch children play, lovers marry, families gather, observing life but never touching it, never speaking. 300 years watching life pass by, invisible, voiceless. But here's the cruelest detail. The length of her sentence isn't fixed. Every time she encounters a good child, a year is subtracted. Every time she finds a bad child, a year is added. In Andersen's Denmark, childhood was a battlefield of moral perfection. A broken dish could earn a beating. Missing church meant public shame. She might spend decades helping humanity, only to have progress erased, because somewhere a child stole a sweet or spoke back to their father. She has no control over her fate, none. This isn't salvation, it's psychological torture that could theoretically last forever. The original Little Mermaid isn't a love story. It's Andersen's brutal condemnation of a world that forces people to destroy themselves, trying to fit in. It's about the violence we do to ourselves when society tells us who we are isn't good enough. It's about love that demands we become something we're not. When Disney adapted the story in 1989, they erased every drop of blood. They couldn't sell lunchboxes featuring a character who dissolves into sea foam after choosing death over murder. They couldn't market dolls of a girl whose every step causes excruciating pain. They couldn't write songs about forbidden gay love in 1830s Copenhagen. So they cut it all away. They replaced existential horror with part of your world and a singing crab. The Little Mermaid launched the Disney Renaissance, a decade that earned billions. Built on the sanitized corpse of Andersen's nightmare. They erased the tongue-cutting. They erased the walking on knives. They erased the suicide. They erased the 300 years of purgatory. They erased Andersen's pain, his truth, his warning. But here's what they couldn't erase completely: the feeling that something was wrong. Generations of viewers, especially queer viewers, felt it. The desperate desire to transform yourself to fit in. The willingness to give up your voice to be accepted. The agony of loving someone who will never love you back. The Little Mermaid resonated not because Disney's version was perfect, but because Andersen's original pain leaked through. His truth was too powerful to suppress. Today, The Little Mermaid remains one of the most analyzed fairy tales in queer literature. Scholars recognize it as one of the earliest coded LGBT narratives in Western literature. And Disney? They took that profound human suffering and turned it into a song about collecting forks. They took Andersen's confession of forbidden love and made it about a teenage girl with daddy issues. They took one of literature's most devastating explorations of identity and transformation and replaced it with Kiss the Girl. The original Little Mermaid isn't about getting the prince. It's about what it costs to exist in a world that demands you destroy yourself to belong. It's about walking on knives every day just to be seen. It's about giving up your voice because speaking your truth would mean losing everything. Hans Christian Andersen knew that pain intimately. He lived it every day of his life. He never married. He never found someone who loved him the way he needed to be loved. He died alone, his letters to Edvard Collin found after his death. Evidence of a love that was never returned. The Little Mermaid isn't a fairy tale. It's a memorial to everyone who ever had to hide who they were, to everyone who ever loved someone they couldn't have, to everyone who ever transformed themselves into something acceptable while the real version screamed silently inside. Disney gave you a happy ending. Andersen gave you the truth. And the truth is this: sometimes the price of trying to belong is so high that even death isn't payment enough. Sometimes you're sentenced to centuries of service, watching life from the outside, waiting for permission to finally be real. The Little Mermaid is still out there, invisible, voiceless, serving her sentence, waiting for human children to determine if she'll ever find peace. That's the real story they never wanted you to know. A story of blood, silence, and unending penance that reveals the cruelest truth of all. Sometimes the monsters aren't in the fairy tales. Sometimes the real monster is the world that makes us want to be anything other than what we are.